Hi, everyone. Let's see. I'm going to be being joined by a dear friend, Shane Lee. He works with bees. So once he tunes in, we're going to start talking about how to opt out of toxic relationship dynamics and what that means, and uh, how we can make choices around the energies that we let into our reality and who we choose to create with. And here we go. Bring them on camera. Yes. I'm bringing Shane on camera right now.
Hey,
Hi, love.
hi, love. How are you?
Ooh, I'm
Oh,
good.
I'm good.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There's a
What?
there's a
There's a
feedback.
feedback. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
Let me
unplug this.
unplug this. Let me put my headphones in. I bet it's on my
Yep.
end then. Yep. Hold on. Let me set this up first.
Thanks to everyone tuning
Thanks to
in.
everyone tuning in. Yeah, I don't hear feedback at all. It actually sounds amazing on my end, but so that must be because of this. So I'll get my headphones in.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thanks for
Thanks for
on.
calling.
Say hello.
Say hello.
What's the live
What's the live
conversation? And if
version? Could you
you guys are hearing
guys are
feedback
hearing feedback
on my
on my? Is that
hello,
better?
hello, Carol.
How about now?
Oh, it's much better now. I'm gonna plug my headset in. Check 1, 2. Oh,
Oh
now I
wow, so
just hear
much
the
better.
beautiful. Yeah, I hear the beautiful Hawaiian birds. Hi, love.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good. I just had the most epic conversation right now. And at first I was a little bit nervous because it was such a good conversation that it was so high energy that I'm actually still trembling from it. I
Uh
mean,
huh.
it was so there was so much healing happening. Hold on one second. Let me untangle these headphones so that I have the full mobility.
Yep.
But it was such high energy that I was like, shoot, am I going to be marshmallows for this Facebook Live interview? But no, I'm still feeling amped. I'm still feeling just totally motivated.
I know what you're speaking about. I've been having this experience lately where it's like the conversation is so on point. It's like my whole body and system is being activated by the
Yeah.
conversation. So I think it's just activation, and I'm happy to be able to carry that energy. I was actually just on a video call with Kyla Weaver. We're going to be doing a Facebook
Oh,
Live soon together, which
I
feels really
love
good.
Kyla.
Yeah. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah. So the conversation actually, even though it wasn't directly about what we're going to talk about, it was so similar in the way of it just noticing uh, the roles that we play out, and ultimately that we're here to heal, and that let's just call it the Great Awakening is happening now,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that memory is stored in our DNA, all of
Yeah.
it. And as we awaken, we start to recognize things. So it's like so it's the conversation started. I went into the grocery store, and one of my friends says he works there. He goes, Shane, I got something to run by you. So I went and did something else, and I came back, and he's like, it's the multiple dimensions. He's like,
Mm.
as the synchronicities happen more and more, it's because all of yourselves are experiencing things in harmony.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, the doors just keep opening when you go with the flow too. When you just your intuition or whatever it is, you've experienced all of this,
Yeah.
and as you get more aligned, the doors just keep opening, and
Yeah.
and the power happens, the powerful moments, one right after the next, and they just continue to align. So yeah, that's how my day started. I don't know about yours.
Well, I feel so grateful. And it's literally been a series of conversations that are like all leading towards this. It started out with, I had a coaching session with a client and we were talking about pleasure and
Hmm.
money
Hmm.
and the ability to allow ourselves to receive that which supports our evolution
Mm.
with ease, and the relationship between allowing ourselves to receive the goodness of pleasure and the allowing ourselves to receive money, which in this current expression, money is something that can also support our liberation and our evolution, and looking at the parts of us that are still attached to the struggle or are still addicted to the drama vortexes of trying to keep ourselves small in order to maintain these old identities which worked with our relationships from the past, and what it means to let go of the need to struggle or to push love and support away. And and it's courageous. It's courageous because it requires us to brush up against that which does not want us to be free, or against situations and people where they don't realize that freedom is available and our freedom is threatening. And
Wow.
this is a lot of what I'm experiencing in my life right now, because I'm in a quantum leap right now. Like there is no, like I am being invited into just rising, and I get to see so clearly where I am still attached to feeling bad about who I am or
Oh,
doubting myself.
yeah, yeah.
And it's just been a day of like that, and then having space held for me where I'm still struggling there, and then receiving this poem via email from a friend who is just like, she just let go. Like there's this beautiful poem of like, she didn't write a book about it, she didn't reach out to anyone, she didn't post it on Facebook, she just decided to let go.
Mm. Man, this feels so good already.
It's I miss you, and like this energy, like this is what I tapped into on the Big Island when I was there. Just this, I can just be here.
Hmm.
Like all I have to do is be here. I am
Yeah,
worthy of existence and joy and pleasure and support just in the beingness
yeah. Right here, right now.
right here, right now. So what
I
shall we
can let
talk
go of this
about today,
story.
babe?
Well, your post triggered it. Like it triggered the story in my head, of course. So I have this little voice in my head saying, "Shane, that's your trauma. That's your trauma speaking to you. It's time to heal. It's time to heal." So first off, let me just say that this is where I perceive me as struggling.
Would you
Um,
like to also describe what the video is for people who don't know what you're referencing?
oh, you made a post about oh shoot, I don't want to misspeak it. How about you talk about it?
Yeah, I recently posted a video that it wasn't recorded live. It was recorded after an experience that I had with a lover that um, reconnected me to such a deep anger. And are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. So I was saying, like, I had this experience with a lover, and there was these moments that were so challenging. And after I dropped him off, and he left, I could feel myself connecting to this deep rage and anger that wasn't even directly related to him, but in all
Mm,
the places in my life where my feelings and my truth and my experience was shut down or shamed or invalidated by men in my life. And because of my own inability at the time to self validate, to have clear boundaries and to take care of myself, I allowed their story about me to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And it colored my whole reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had this experience with a man in so long, which is why I actually feel like I attracted it in. As I'm
Oh.
shifting into this new reality, it's like I attracted it in to like see, like, do you remember this, Arielle? How do you relate to this? And it's like
Mm.
from this place of awareness and embodiment and boundaries, I got to connect with the part of me that was like, fuck no.
Yeah.
And wanting to share this anger, and not from a place of wanting to shame men, but just
Right.
like, fuck you, and like, fuck
Right.
this game that both of us have been conditioned into
Yes. Yes.
to perpetuate our own suffering. And fuck you because I want you to lean in with me and let's dismantle this shit.
Yes. Oh, this feels so good right now because I've struggled with this. I see it looking back on my life. I've played the roles out with my mother, with relationships, and because I don't know, or let's just say haven't remembered how to navigate through that, the relationship fails. Or I go 8 years without talking to my mother, and you know, uh, I'm in a place now where I at least recognize that once I love, it's forever.
Mm,
I love you, and it's forever. So now that I recognize that these things happen, these things play out, and it almost seems like a game. Now I don't necessarily have to attach it to you, and I'm not going to allow you to attach it to me. And we can work it out.
mm-hmm,
So, like that's kind of where I'm at now. Like you know, uh, sometimes I'll go into my cave, especially as a Cancer. I'll go into my cave and I just shut down. It's
mm-hmm,
like I can't take this blame. I can't take uh, all of this projection, and so far, like so deep that I know it's not even me, and I know it's not even me. And then I notice, as humans, we make mistakes, right? "Quote unquote" mistakes, where we'll say somebody else's name when we didn't, when we're addressing someone else, like a past boyfriend or a lover, or even the father's son. Like the mother will call the son the father's name.
mm,
And then now the lines get really blurry. And we see that we're just playing out these different roles and archetypes. And that's when I like, oh, I'm remembering we're all innocent. Even me, even I am innocent.
mm,
So how do I get out of this? How do I, like the fear that comes over me that says, "Oh, this relationship's over. I'm done. This love is over," and then it starts to manifest. Um, it doesn't have to be, but the toxic part of it, that's what we all want to be over, right? And that's
mm-hmm.
why we're doing this live. And I just want to thank you so much because I have so much to learn from not just you, but from the feminine period. I, I'm done with the toxicity. I'm ready to step into. I'm ready to fully embody the love that I know is here within me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thanks, Arielle.
You're welcome. And I want to preface this by saying I do not have all this shit figured out. But
Right.
I really don't. I do think that I am very well on my path. And there are still the places where I have felt unsafe and
Yeah.
attacked by the masculine.
Hmm.
And the places where it's like a trigger for me is like the fear that when I'm coming in and wanting to be vulnerable about a place where I'm afraid or sad or uncomfortable, which is like the place where I'm most like opening my heart, which to me in those moments is actually one of the most beautiful opportunities to create deeper love and deeper intimacy. like
Yeah.
when I'm being triggered by something. And that is my desire. That is my desire in lovership and partnership, to be able to reveal the parts of me that I fear are broken or not good enough, and just be loved in those places. And it's also one of the most vulnerable places where we're vulnerable to attack. So
Mm.
my tendency, it's an interesting one for me, because I want to hold space for a man when he gets triggered around my emotions. Because it was interesting with this person, I didn't even feel like I was even making anything he was doing wrong. I just felt like I was
Hmm.
coming with I feel ungrounded. I feel sad. And the way it
Yeah.
was received, um, I didn't feel safe. And I'm in this internal dialogue with me around how much do I actually want to go into being a part of someone's process and inviting them into a
Right.
place of connection, versus we're not in resonance here. And this is like the
Yeah.
edgy piece, because for me, I am very much devoted to my expansion path and to raising in vibration and frequency and alignment with who I can be in this world. And I see the number one place that we limit ourselves is the place where we get hooked into relationships, where we try to prove our goodness to another person, prove our rightness,
Oh.
or where there's some type of validation that we get from the person that we've become addicted to, and
Oh.
we minimize aspects of ourselves in order to keep siphoning that validation, which to me it's kind of like it's related to the idea of like when the victim, a person who's attached to being a victim, doesn't have the experience of being a creator.
Yes.
Power, because they don't have the understanding of power from a creator consciousness, they only know what it means to have power in being a victim. So similarly, it's like the willingness to let go of that idea of validation and playing into that toxic energy loop that's burning our energy
Yes.
and our life force, and be
God.
willing to let it go, is courageous. And we risk being made wrong. We risk
Yes.
being attacked. We risk being shamed and misunderstood. And this is where the knowing of self is so deeply important, and the
Yeah.
willingness to trust ourselves in the face of being persecuted.
This is so good. This is already just blowing me away. That victim, that place that we all can relate to right now, if
Mm-hmm,
you're being honest with the self. You know you've played out that victim role.
mm-hmm.
We all have. And you get trapped in it. You get stuck in it. And then the toxicity really plays out. And it's so toxic. What does it do? It drains your adrenals. Your physical body changes. Your mind, there's something called samskara, it's you start to get these grooves, these patterns in your brain from all the negative interactions and the negative thoughts. And then that makes you have a harder time actually sending the positive signals throughout your brain, the waves, if you will, the brain waves. They have a harder time getting through, and it becomes even more of a challenge for you to think positive, the basic thought process.
Yep.
And we get to take ourselves out of these toxic situations. It doesn't mean it's anybody's fault, and because there we go again with that pattern, making it
Yep.
somebody else's fault. If you just take responsibility for everything that you see in your life, you know how to be gentle to yourself. You've also been really mean to yourself as well.
Mm-hmm,
But for me, that's where I go every time now. I'm like, oh, no, it's not her fault, or it's not his fault, or it's not their fault.
mm-hmm.
It's nobody's fault, Shane. You gave this to yourself because you need to learn.
Yep.
So what are we going to look at right now? What are we choosing to look at? The only way you can really look at it is to remove yourself from the situation. That way you can look from the outside in. And
Mm.
then and then really be able to analyze it. But if you're stuck in the pattern of the victim and the blaming and all that crap, it's still rapid firing at you, and there's no way you're gonna well, I don't want to say there's no way you're gonna be successful at navigating through it, but at least personally speaking, I have to step out of it.
Yep. Well, it is. I was just talking with a friend yesterday about how we can get into these dialogues where like shame
Mm-hmm.
is such an insidious part of this, because to me what happens is a person becomes defensive because on some level they're feeling they were shamed. To me it's like, okay, there is a place in your life where at some point you felt shamed for who you are and made wrong for who you were,
Right.
and then we
Right.
manifest these experiences in our current
Yes.
relationships, and it's like in that moment where that feeling of the past gets triggered, we go back into that trauma vortex that is riddled with shame. And then our
Mm.
default position from that place is to shame the other
Yeah.
for who they are. And then what winds
Yeah.
up happening is that we get sucked into a reality that is riddled with shame, and that is how we see things. And there can
Mm-hmm.
actually be, like, when a person wants to step back from that dynamic, that can be one of the most powerful, like, intense places to shame a person. Oh, like, this is too much for you, you're just stepping back. And the willingness to not engage in the dynamic. I was just having this conversation with Kyla of where it's not that you're right and I'm wrong, but this is not a frequency that I desire to perpetuate.
Mm. No. Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
this is
really
so good.
getting curious on why am I going in here? Is it because this relationship is so nourishing to me that I want to figure it out? Or is it because I'm defending, for me, it's like, am I defending my fear of not being right? Like, is there a part of me that's so
That's it.
attached to being right that I need this person to see my perspective?
That's it. Right. I mean, ultimately, kind of that's pretty much what it boils down to. It. I mean, if we move beyond the roles and such, and just really like even the doubt that comes up from ourselves, from our own perspective, we're like, wait, am I wrong or am I right? And then now all of a sudden you just start reeling. You know,
Yep.
you just start really like starting to play out these storylines where you aren't smart enough or you don't have enough experience in this, and then anyway, I took a bunch of notes yesterday and today, and it just seems like everything started to line up according to what you and I are going to talk about. I found it really weird. Like I saw this video today, uh, and by relationships, I personally, I love you too, Allison. Um, by relationships, I don't necessarily mean romantic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean every relationship. Like I
Yeah.
brought up my mother. My mother and I, now we have an amazing relationship.
Mm.
But for 8 years, I chose to not speak to her. And I looking back on it now, I kind of, at first I regretted it being that long, but now I'm like, wow, we must have really needed that. And boy, look at our relationship now. It's amazing. And it has
Yeah.
been for a few years now. So, and things do come up, but her and I now have the tools to navigate through our relationship without the toxicity.
Yeah.
And anything can come up, and her and I are just right there with each other. And we'll even recognize it. Like my mom said something the other day that just blew my mind. She's like, "Oh, you need me to listen to you right now, don't you?"
Mm.
Who are you? Yes, thanks, Mom. Like now I don't even have to tell her. She's already thinking. And then the same in reverse for her. Oh, is this what you need, Mom? Like, are you going through this right now? And and boy, it's just such a beautiful situation. But anyway, the notes that I wrote down, a lot of the things that have been like coming up today, I saw a video, and I know this may trigger a little bit, but that's kind of the point. Is this guy out there named Donald Trump is such a trigger for so many. And I don't want to make this about politics. I'm only focusing on the relationship part. Like, like we can deny it and say that we don't have a relationship with Donald Trump, but the fact is he's in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can choose to come from a place of reaction when you're triggered by the things that come up, but I want to give some examples of what has happened when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So this character was wearing a MAGA hat, right? And somebody walked up to him, a woman walked up to him and grabbed him in his private area. Now, he confronted her and asked why and all this stuff. Well, a police officer saw it, arrested her, and she ended up not getting charged with anything, but because he didn't want to press charges, which is awesome. But she got interviewed, and she said that what triggered her was the grab him in the pussy thing, and how violating that is, and how much trauma there is behind that. That's decades, ancient trauma experienced from the masculine to the feminine, and when she came from a reactionary point, she actually played it out in reverse and almost went to jail for it. And then another situation, there was a woman that saw another guy in a MAGA hat and like a United States outfit and everything, and she was of, let's just say, Hispanic or Latin descent, and she went off on him and actually threw his hat off his head and pushed him, and cops came and they actually arrested her. Turns out she was quote unquote illegally here and then sent back. And these instances are a reminder to me to not come from that place, you know, to really go deep. If I'm that triggered, maybe I don't need to be speaking at all right now. Maybe I do not need to even be, I can walk away. I can put in my headphones and put in my music. I can sit and meditate, whatever it is. If I'm that triggered, maybe I don't actually need to take part in this right now. Or when your practices get kind of good, which is where I feel like I'm getting, is okay, I recognize the trigger. I honor the feeling within myself. I recognize the woundedness or whatever it is, the roles that we're playing out. And now I'm ready to handle this. I'm going to come from a clear mind, body, and spirit, and give myself love, and then be able to either hold space. And that's kind of what I want to do with this, is like, I want you to be able to go through the experience that you had with that man, and then me actually go to you and say, I'm here for you. I can do this right now. Call me whatever you want to call me, and I can deal with it.
Well, you know, it's fun. Like, when I'm hearing you speak and you're saying, oh, like, if I'm that triggered, like, I want to go and do my practices. And my reaction and response to that is like, I want a culture where there is a space for us to express our fucking anger.
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
anger is not a shunned emotion. Because there is
Right.
shame around anger, we have not learned how to hold it healthfully, where we have a
Right.
strong enough sense of self. It's like, on the
Yes.
part of the anger expressor, I feel like there's two ways that we can use it. And like, do we wield our anger with a clean sword? Meaning where my intent is to not shame or maim you, but to just let you fucking feel me. And I
Yeah.
actually want to be met there. Like, in my opinion,
Yes.
healthy anger can lead to really great, like, fucking. You know, like, especially in
Oh.
dynamics between men and women. It's like my ideal is that we are so in ourselves that you can receive my fucking anger and you are turned on by my honesty
Yeah.
and my trust in your
Yes.
ability to hold it, that we get to, like, like, there's
Yes.
so much. There's so much,
Fuck,
right?
that's
And
so
most of us,
sexy.
it's so there. And I really just got to connect with this place where it's like, it's in all of us. This
It is.
rage is in all of us, but because it's
Totally.
been deemed unacceptable, and in many ways it's even more unacceptable for women to have rage and aggression than men, and I want, and it might not be, it's not necessarily going to be a quick fix, but I feel
Right.
like allowing for anger to be here and learning how to wield it cleanly, where my anger does not come out as like trying to shame you with all the things that are doing
Right.
wrong, but like I'm
Yes.
feeling this way right now and I don't want to hold this back from you because I want connection
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Yes, that's it. That's ultimately it. Is the reason why we yell? The reason why we're so angry is because we perceive the connection fading. Our hearts are apart. If we were close, we could whisper in each other's ear. If our
Mm-hmm.
hearts were touching, I could whisper in your ear.
Yes. Yeah.
But when we're fucking noticing the distance, we become fearful, and we become, because of the training and all that stuff that you just mentioned, now these old patterns come out, the victim, the blame, and we start wielding these crazy swords, and we don't even mean to. It just
and
happens.
it's and it's so painful. Like
Yeah.
it drives me crazy. And I feel like so much of my practice has been learning how to hold neutral space and to not let my emotions get the best of me, so that like
Oh.
men can feel safe and people can feel safe. And in all honesty, I feel like my work right now is letting it fucking rip and like
Mm-hmm.
clearing it out, because I've been pretending. I've been caretaking men. I've been
Yeah.
like making it okay in little places where it's like, I actually want you to rise with me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want you to do the same with me. I want you to
Mm-hmm.
name the places where I'm playing small, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
emasculating you, or I'm where I'm doing these things that I'm trying to keep you small so that I
Wow.
can feel more in control. And I'm like, fuck that. Fuck
Wow.
that. Fuck
Holy
it.
shit, there's so much healing happening within me right now.
Yay!
This is wild. This is so wild. I mean, like I was saying, like at the beginning of this conversation, just from the hour-long conversation I had prior to this, I was already so amped that I was wondering if I was just going to fall to marshmallows right in front of you. And I'm still there. I'm still at this really super heightened self where I almost feel magnetic. I like the universe is just, there's a bubble right above me right now, completely encasing me in all of this just divine energy that feels so good, so right, where I can completely open up to receive all the knowledge and all the awareness and all the ability to heal myself from what it is that we're talking about. And so thank you, thanks again.
You're
This is so good.
welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for being a man that I can go here with. Like, thank you for the leaning in and the yes. I feel like more and more as I'm really calling in partnership right now. I'm really
Hmm.
calling in the desire. I want to lean in with
Really?
someone where I feel yes. Yes. It
Wow.
doesn't necessarily mean that I like the person for the rest of my life, but I am
Right,
ready
right.
to lean in with someone that I feel super fucking met and beautifully challenged and loved by, because the more intimacy I'm cultivating in my life, the more I'm able to see what's possible in connection with another person when two people
Hmm.
are open and willing and desiring to go in deep and release the old places where
Yeah.
we keep ourselves protected from connection.
Yeah.
Because what you're describing right now, the level of magnetism and power that you feel, it is being
Hmm.
amplified because we are truly seeing each other. We aren't
Yeah.
requiring either of us to be small in any way. And what I want to experience is what that container and that vortex feels like when I'm leaning in continually with another person to create from that place, because it is so powerful. Talk about
Because
psychedelics,
that's what
talk
we
about
are doing.
hallucinogens. What?
Yeah. We are creating.
What do,
That's
mm-hmm,
exactly what we're doing. We're creating. And you can break
mm-hmm,
it down to the most minute thing. We're just creating this little window of opportunity with this live video for a little bit of healing, Or we can bust it wide open and say that I'm creating everything that there is in the universe right here, right now, in this moment. So let me use all of this creative power, all this divine creative energy that the masculine and feminine can have together, like
Yeah.
independently together, like
Mm-hmm.
completely sovereign but leaning in. I like that now. Like that gives me a completely different perspective of what it means to share and experience these things.
Yeah. And you are like, my opinion is that you actually are shifting your cellular data. Your
Hmm.
experience of reality is changing. Your vortex is changing because you are not only self validating, but you are in the field of a person who is validating with you this reality that we desire to exist. It is amplifying this field and it is shifting what you are attracting into your reality because now it's
Oh,
not just
totally.
you choosing to believe this. It's two people coming together with sexual energy because it is our life
Yes.
force energy. And there is a
Yeah.
third that gets created from those two energies. There's magic and immense power here to
So
create.
much. So much. Now, okay, I still want to go off on all this magicalness part of it. And
Uh huh.
see, look, it just slipped out of my mind that fast. Wait. Okay, so we were the jesters. Okay,
Uh huh.
so
Yes.
when you're in the middle of all this magical creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that there won't be a jester that comes popping into your life and go boom and
Mm.
try to like reel you in and try to like wrap you up with something else. No, the potential for that, of course, is there.
Can you give an
Sure, fine.
example? What is an example of a jester?
Well, I mean, to just put it bluntly, I I've done enough ayahuasca and DMT to see the universe for what it really is. Like I can see with multiple lenses now, if you know what I mean. And what I got from a DMT journey one time is these little tiny gestures, these like pranksters. They come in and they try to spook you or scare you or throw some what you perceive as something negative or a past trauma that might trigger you. They
Yeah.
throw it at you. They put it in your face.
Yeah.
And but you realize in that moment that you are in creative power. You are, not the jesters.
Yep.
So you look at them and you just bow gracefully and say thank you. And you laugh with them. You guys are funny. Like that. Okay, what's his name? The golf player, Tiger Woods. He just won another Masters or whatever you call the golf stuff, and he just won again for the first time in years. Now we can look at that man and make fun of and berate his personal choices and beat him up if you want to, or we can be the humanitarians that we are and say, you know what, that man deserves another chance. We all deserve another chance.
Mm.
I mean, and another, and another, and another. Anyway,
Mm.
so he won that tournament, and this guy he was walking by. This guy had a T-shirt on that had a picture of him when he got arrested, his
Mm.
mugshot,
Mm.
and Tiger Woods just did one of those. That shit's funny,
Mm-hmm.
but you can jump on the bandwagon and start even like just berating him, say, oh, he don't deserve that award, he doesn't deserve to win. But no, that man is trying, just like we all are, to grow. He's trying to get better. And
Mm.
then that, even the jester that put the T-shirt on, he's just having fun. He's not taking everything. Maybe he's not in that moment taking everything into consideration, or is he? Maybe his mission is to just giggle and laugh and see if Tiger Woods can take the joke. And
Mm.
the fact that Tiger Woods could take the joke, and the jesters in the DMT journey, they look at you when you get it, and they giggle and run away. So when you're
Mm.
standing there with somebody in discussion and then they throw a trigger your way,
Yep.
look at them and just laugh with them.
Yep.
and say thanks.
Oh man, that's helpful. That's helpful because there have been a couple of conversations lately that have just been so fucking infuriating me, different from like this scenario I was just telling you about. And I had this moment today of like, Arielle, you're allowing this. You're allowing this to pull you off center. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you doing that? And what
Yeah.
what I'm feeling is like that's what you're speaking to is the only way this like you get to choose if you feed this or not.
Right. You choose to feed it. You're the
Yep.
creator.
Yeah, and
So
again,
it's
it only comes from a place of wanting to be right.
yes.
Once I don't need to be right, I win.
Yeah. You win so much, all of a sudden there isn't anything to win. You're just like, oh wait, everything's perfect like I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's so fucking humbling because so much of what I had been trained to believe was success that like to be successful I need to be right.
Oh
To win I
man.
need to be right. So
Mm-hmm.
there's this ego death of like, but how can you let go of being
Yeah.
right because then you won't
Right.
win.
Right. Isn't that weird? And then there's this story too, like, oh, wait, if I'm wrong, that means I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Oh shit.
Yep.
That's where like once that shifted for me, now a lot of things are opening up. Portals are opening up now that I don't care that I've done it wrong. So what?
Ugh.
I'm glad I'm getting it now. I'm thankful to just now like step into this. It's okay. Nothing is over. Nothing is ever over until you decide it is. And and it things may shift, things may evolve, things may change, and they will. Change is one of the few things that I'm pretty sure of. But it doesn't ever have to be over, and it really only seems to be over when I finally decide, and even then that's okay too. But damn, this is golden.
There's so
This
much
is Facebook
freedom.
gold.
It is. People are feeling it too. It's such a deep letting go. Like, and I keep being invited into this. All the places where I feel like I've been told I need to be this way in order to have a happy, successful life. It's literally like once you can let go of the desire for it, you can have it.
Yeah.
What a mind trip. What a body
Oh,
trip.
whoa! You just triggered something else. Desire. Okay. Oh, okay. What's that doctor's name? Eckert.
Tolle?
Is that it? He
Eckhart
talks about
Tolle?
like, yeah, he talks about narcissism and sociopathic nature and paranoia. Um, oh my goodness, everything has been leading up to this video, hasn't it? So there's this interesting line when you start to experience the sanskara, the grooves in your brain from the negative thinking. Sometimes what then happens is this extreme paranoia, right? Where you think everything is about you, or you think that like everybody's out to get you, or you start to create these scenarios, and then they manifest.
Mm.
Like people could be having a conversation over there, and your extreme paranoia brought on by an extreme case of narcissism or some, because we're all narcissists. That's another thing that he talked about is the universe is us, you know. So at some point you do think you have some sort of play or reason or control or something. So it's just that, you know, are you taking a humble approach? Are you in a place of gratitude? Are you trying to anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to feel like these two people over there that you really can't even hear what they're saying, but you start
Mm-hmm.
to think that they're talking about you,
Mm-hmm.
now you're creating a story.
Yep.
And and now the story's playing in your mind.
Yep.
So those two people were totally talking about, let's just say, the grapevines in California, and you thought they were talking about you, so you start like mad dogging them. You start to like, you don't even realize you're staring at them because you're stuck in story. Now they notice you. Now they start talking about you.
Yep.
You created it.
Yep.
And it's just so powerful, this constant humbling that we get to have.
Yep.
Like it takes a certain level of confidence, for example, for you and I to do this video. It takes a certain level of self-awareness, self-confidence, um, uh, I don't know, something that's inside that I feel comfortable doing this. Not only
Yeah.
that, but I feel comfortable doing it with you.
Yeah.
And it's because I recognize the confidence within yourself.
Yeah.
Like you see the confidence within yourself. You trust in yourself. So then, like the bees, they're not going to sting you. But if they can't see what's inside you based on how you present yourself, if you put on the veil, they'll light your ass on fire.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
But
Okay.
you openly present yourself to me all the time, to everyone. And you humbly do it. You let me see your emotions. You let me experience everything. You don't have these hidden agendas. Doesn't mean you don't have a personal agenda. Obviously you do. You know, you want to help heal. I see I even see your person. You make it so clearly abundant what your personal agenda is that I don't even have to question it.
I love you.
So, I love you. That's easy. That's easy. Thanks for making it easy.
Oh my goodness. When I hear you speaking about the jester, and you brought it up again with, the two people, when you were talking about the jester, and initially I was like, oh, to me, I feel like the jester is jealousy. Like that's a really, like jealousy and envy are two really powerful jesters that can be present, at least in my life, and it's like I even had this experience where like I tapped so deeply into deep trust. And then there was a moment where like me and Kyla hopped on the phone and like she was talking about like how fucking awesome everything was. And there was this moment where I felt jealousy. And I was like, Arielle,
Ooh.
it's like, what? It's like rather than being able to see that person as like a reflection of exactly where I am, this conditioning in me to think
Oh
that
my
there
God.
is a limited amount of goodness that is available and that there's a competition
Oh,
when it comes
oh,
to self-actualization. And to me, when I think of the things that pull me out of my center, it's when I start comparing myself to other people.
yeah. Fuck yeah. It's not necessary, right?
It's not necessary, and it's like one of my biggest like what I don't even know what it's one of my biggest thresholds to walk through. Any part
Mm.
of me that's still comparing myself to the external reality. And the thing is, like the deeper I go on my path, the less and less I could ever compare myself to anyone. But I still get like
Mm-hmm.
hooked on it.
Yeah.
So my practice is learning how to notice when I'm doing it and notice what it feels like in my body because it's a contraction. And contraction is not the place that I want to be when I am embodying and when I'm in love and when I'm in spaciousness and when I'm in creation. So it's that practice of noticing that I'm doing it, immediately noticing the part of me that judges that I'm doing it and wants to shame myself for doing it, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
naming that it's happening as a way to
Oh,
recreate
identifying.
connection in.
Yeah.
And like that's a really powerful way to do it. But like, oh, I just noticed that I was jealous of you in that moment, and I just wanted to share that with you because it was creating disconnection. And there you go. And then
There you
being able
go.
to, yeah, and there you go. And then being able to come back into this space of love and trust and humility, which
Oh,
again runs so
humility.
counter, because when you think of, people like Donald Trump, and we see like the visual, like when we see reflections of what wealth look like, and
Mm,
prosperity looks like, we're not shown a lot of images of people who have done that from a place of humility, but instead
mm-hmm.
we see that to be powerful means that you need to dominate, you need to be in competition. So I feel like so much of what I'm learning how to do is to dismantle that paradigm of, to be successful means that I need to be more powerful than, and instead realizing that there is so much to go around, that like my humility is actually essential for experiencing the type of love and abundance,
Yeah.
prosperity that is going to be most fulfilling to my soul. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it's a painful mourning, because an old identity must die
Yeah.
to make way for, like, again, letting go of the things that I've been trained to like fight for. I'm now realizing are just like smoke screens.
Mm-hmm. This is so good. This is so, so good. Thank you so much for this because, like, I'd say probably the last 2 years, I've been really in deep contemplation, deep process. Almost alienated myself, really. Um, the type of person that I am, I like to be around a lot of people. I like to have a lot of interactions. I'm a busybody and I like to share everything, share my experiences, share my food, I mean, everything. And I'd say the last 2 years, I just like, and
Mm-hmm.
especially I'd say probably the last 8 months. And, uh, but I've never in my entire life looked at myself as deeply as I have these last 2 years, especially the last 8 months, year. I'd say the last year. I, I, I'm, whew, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot to heal. And, when you spend your life doing drugs and drinking alcohol and having, completely unconscious sex and, all of that crap that we do to mask the the healing that needs to happen, but then also the deeper what's underneath all of those healings is this king and this queen, and that's why we call this our crown, because like when you become free, truly free and sovereign, you you can put it on,
Mm-hmm.
and prior to that, we've had all of these traumatic experiences. We've had lifetimes of things that we have allowed ourselves to be victims of. But when we step out of that, there is for me personally, I'm just speaking on me, there is a bunch of healing that needs to happen still first. But you really got to step out of the victim place. And at least for me, identify it, work through it, find where the different triggers come from, and then now I feel confident that I can walk this path, and these triggers come my way, and I just thank you for this, and let's get into it. Here we go. I'm here. I'm wielding this beautiful sword that I won't use to actually slice at you. I'm just holding it right here, and look at it. Isn't it beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm a
Well,
warrior
an
of
idea,
creation now.
yeah. Well, and ideally, what you're slicing away is illusion.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Whew.
Yeah, yeah, babe. Mm-hmm.
Wow, you're doing some real good work.
Thanks, love.
No, I mean serious. Like you really are doing some good work. We all really appreciate it. And, you know, like we're figuring out this money thing too. Like I personally am figuring out this money thing, you know, like why did I step into the work that I stepped into? And, you know, at what point, you know, do I just say, hey, that's it. I've got to make all this money. I've got to figure out how to make this money. You know, it's like I just stopped worrying about it. Though, to me, all that's important now is the work that I'm doing. I don't even consider it work anymore. Like I get to play with bees all day, every day, and I get to share the experiences with anyone that wants to listen. And I trust that everything is going to unfold and take place as it should, you know, and magically it is.
Mhm. Yes. And when I hear the term like, oh, I have to make money,
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm way less interested in the I need to make money as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to how do I set myself in alignment in such a way where I'm fully open to receiving it? Like,
Yes.
what is my relationship with money that I have not fully opened myself up to receiving it? This is
Mm-hmm.
way less about trying and way more about realizing that money is an entity. Money is an energy. Money
It's an
actually
energy.
has a spirit to it. And
We've given
it's
it one.
even, well, and I mean, a friend of mine, Dave Burns, brilliant coach, and is making money. He is working with the money spirit in a really powerful way. And he 100% believes that money is a spirit, it is an entity. And even this
Yeah.
past weekend at this ceremony, I connected with the spirit of money, and I started relating to money as if it was a lover of mine.
Oh.
And if money is actually a lover that I can have a relationship with, then
Mm.
how have I been relating to this lover? What are my beliefs
Oh.
about this lover? How do I receive the gifts of this lover when he is present?
Wow.
And once we start relating to it as a being, then we get to see where our own beliefs about money are actually inviting him into deeper relationship with us or kind of pushing him away. So that's a lot of what I'm in the alchemy of right now.
How much healing can happen in one video?
A lot.
That smile too, that smile
Mm-hmm.
alone that you are just wielding at me like a sword of love. Yes.
So much. Oh my God, I love you.
I love you too.
Ah! This
This was
feels
so
good.
good. Thank
I
you.
feel like, yeah, yeah, this feels like a good place to perhaps conclude for this round.
Yes.
And I love keeping this channel open with you. There's such a freedom in our connection. I really feel the opting out of the matrix in our conversations
Yes.
together. There's such a beautiful permission, and I'm just such a fuck yes, because then I know I can go anywhere. To
Yeah.
me, the relationships that are most important to me and that I value most are the relationships where I know that I can go anywhere and that there is a willingness, there's a turn on, there's a desire, and
Mm.
that's just the way that I want to be connecting. And it's like I am turned on and tapped more deeply into the frequency that I want to be in through this conversation. And every single
Yes.
person who engaged in this conversation with us and watches this replay gets to be imbued with the transmission of this energy. It's
Oh my
beautiful.
God. It is so beautiful. Thank you so much for inviting me and being a part of this with me. And you know, we do this, but once every couple, few months, and every time I'm like, wow, does it get any better than that? And once again, I find myself questioning the same thing. Does it really get any better than this? Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. I love you.
I love you too. Have a beautiful day.
You as well, love.